Hello guys, we are going through what is it called price controls. Oh no, we are going through first. We'll go through. Let's see effects of shifting demand and supply on the equilibrium price. So increase in demand. When there is increase in demand, the quantity demanded will increase, but the quantity supplied will not increase, will reduce, and this will lead to excess demand over supply, which will cause prices to rise to a new equilibrium level and the quantity supplied to rise to a new equilibrium level. From 1 to you have decrease in demand. At the initial equilibrium price, quantity demanded falls, but the quantity supplied is still at Q1 at this price. Hence, this creates excess supply over demand, and this causes price to fall to a new equilibrium level and quantity to fall to a new equilibrium level. We have Roman 3 increase in supply. We have a curve there. DD is the demand curve, and the S1 the initial supply curve. If supply increases, the supply curve shifts to the right position S2 at the initial equilibrium price P1. Quantity supplied increases from Q1 to Q2. This creates a glut in the market, and this causes the price to the new P21, and the quantity increases to a new equilibrium level. Okay, we move to fall in supply. When the supply falls, the supply curve shifts to the left to position S1 at the initial equilibrium price. Quantity supplied falls, but the quantity demanded is still there. This creates excess demand over supply, which causes price to rise to a new equilibrium level and the quantity to fall to a new equilibrium level, and quantity to fall to a new equilibrium level. Then move to price controls. Price floors and price ceilings are price controls. Example of government intervention in the free market which changes the market equilibrium. They each have reason for using them, but there are large efficient losses with both of them. We move to price floors. Price floors are minimum prices set by the government for certain commodities and services that it believes are being sold in an fair market with too low of a price, and thus their producers deserve some assistance. Price floors are only an issue when they are set above the equilibrium price, since they have no effect if they are set below the market clearing price. When they are set above the market price, then there is possibility there will be an excess supply or surplus. If this happens, producers who can't foresee trouble ahead will produce the larger quantity where the new price intersects the supply curve and beckons to them. Consumer will not buy that many goods at the higher prices, and so the goods will go unsold. There will be economic harm done even if suppliers can look ahead and see that there is insufficient demand and cut back on production in response. There is still deadweight loss associated with the reduction in quantity, reflected in the loss of consumer and producer surplus at lower level of production. Producer can gain as a result of this policy, but only if the supply curve is relatively elastic, and therefore they have no net loss. Consumer will definitely lose with this kind of regulation, as some people are priced out of the market and others have to pay a higher price than before. There are numerous strategies of the government for setting a price floor and dealing with its repercussions. They can set a simple price floor use a price support, or set production quotas excess supply. This is even more efficient and costly for the government and society as a whole than the government directly subsidizing the affected farms. Production quotas artificially raise the price by restricting production. In America, this latter technique is used widely with agriculture. The government pays farmers to keep some portion of their field fallow, thus elevating prices. Like price support, the policy would be more efficient and less costly to the society if the government directly subsidized farmers instead of setting a production restriction. Price ceilings. Price ceilings are maximum prices set by the government for particular goods and services that they believe are being sold at too high of a price, and thus consumers need some help purchasing them. Price ceilings only become a problem when they are set below the market equilibrium price. When the ceiling is set below the market price, there will be excess demand or supply shortage. Producer won't produce as much as they lower the price, while consumer will demand more because the goods are cheaper, but can't. Still, if the demand curve is relatively elastic, then the net effect consumer supplies will be positive. Producers are truly armed as their supply is doubly hit, with a reduction in the number of farms willing to take that lower price, and those who remain in the market have to take a lower price. The resulting shortage of goods can lead to consumers having to queue up in line to get a good government rationing, and even the deployment of a black market dealing with the scarce goods. This is what occurred with the energy crisis in America during the 1970s, when cars had to line up on the street in order to just get some government rationed amount of gasoline. Government action to stabilize farm prices and incomes. In this case, the government buys up part of the supply when the output is excessive, stores these supplies and resells it to consumers in terms of shortage or reduced supply. The amount that the government must buy or sell to stabilize incomes will therefore depend on the elasticity of demand. In practice, this normally operates through a marketing board controlling the industry, with monopoly power to fix prices to producers. The board will usually guarantee a minimum price for the commodity, and may make an initial payment to the grower, followed by an additional payment if sales by the board subsequently realize a price in excess of the minimum. Producers of the crop are thus encouraged by the knowledge that any decrease in prices during season will be moderated by government action. In the stabilization fund, the government fixes the price. When the demand is high, the government shall detain the difference and stabilize the price of producers when demand is low. The case of diversification. This is done to reduce the uncertainty in the livelihood of the farm. Reasons for price fluctuation in agriculture. Production depends on factors beyond the control of the product, e.g. weather, disease, and pest. Actual and planned output is often all the same, and the price charge is usually different from the expected price. The production of this product depends on factors beyond the control of the producers, e.g. weather, disease, and pest. Consequently, actual output is often not the same as planned output, and hence the actual price is usually different from the expected price. At any one time, the supply of the commodity will be perfectly inelastic. DD is the demand curve, and else is the long run supply curve, indicating what producers will be willing to produce and sell at different prices if production was entirely under their control. Thus, P is the expected equilibrium price and Q the planned equilibrium quantity. Depending on the external factor mentioned above, actual output may be more than planned output, making the price P2 or L or less than planned output, e.g. at quantity 1 making the price P1. The situation is made worse by the law that these commodities are not easily stored, so that if the actual output falls short of planned output, it cannot be supplemented from the stock, and if the actual output is greater than the planned output, it cannot be reduced, which would prevent prices from being too low. Besides, the short-run elasticity of supply is low, since once a given amount of the crop has been planted, it is comparatively difficult to increase or decrease the resulting output, hence high or low. Bracket. Prices are likely to persist in the short term before additional supply can be made available. Furthermore, the demand for this product is also price inelastic, for they are either foods or raw materials, and in the latter case, they usually form a small proportion of the total inputs. Thus, if the actual output is in excess of planned output, it is difficult to sell the excess without decreasing prices excessively. Equilibrium price may also be difficult to attain because of laggard responses by producers to respond to price changes. In this case, it is assumed that though producers are continually disappointed, they never become wiser as a result, and thus precipitate the price movement, and that stocks of the commodity are not stored by producers or middlemen in periods of low prices to be resold in periods of otherwise high prices, thus airing out the unevenness of supply and price. This leads to the cobweb theorem, bracket, a dynamic model of supply and demand in which adaptive and unrational expectation lead to perpetual oscillation in prices. We leave it from there. In the next episode, we'll move to chapter 3, which is theory of the consumer behavior, and kindly subscribe, like and comment. Adios. Thank you for your viewing.